Hello everyone, this is Kostap here from Inside Stat and welcome to this new video. And in today's video we are going to talk about another important function or another important set of functions called date functions. Now what are we going to learn in date functions? So we are going to talk about today or now. We are going to talk about year, month or day, weekday, EOMONTH, DATEADD and DATEDIFF. So out of all the date functions that we have in Power BI DAX, these are some of the most commonly used and most important in the industry. So let's look at them one by one. So what is today or now? So today or now returns the current date or date and time. Okay, so it's as simple as that. All we have to do is call in the function today or now. It'll return the date along with the time, and then if you just want the date, we can convert the data type. We'll look at it. And the next is year, month or day. So it extracts the year, month or day from a date. So let's say you are trying to extract the year from a date of birth, or you're trying to extract the month from an order date, or you are trying to extract the day from the most frequently visited month or the most frequently visited date or timeline. So the year, month or day helps us in extracting specific part of a date, and the syntax is again very simple: year of the date, month of the date or day of the date. So we have to pass the date here. Okay. Next is weekday. So what does weekday do? It returns a number from 1 to 7 identifying the day of the week of a date. Something very similar which we have done in the past, right? We tried and extracted the weekday for a given date. This is exactly the same. All we have to do is pass the weekday function, pass the date, and the return type is optional. So there are different return types which we will talk about. I'll show it to you in the hands-on part. The return type talks about, do you want Sunday to be the first day? Do you want Monday to be the first day? So on and so forth. So it helps us in attaching a number to a given day. EOMONTH is a little tricky, but it's also very important. So what does EOMONTH do? It returns the last day of month with an offset. Now that offset can be back in the past, or the offset can be in the future. For example, if I call in EOMONTH of a date and I add, let's say, 1. So let's say if I start, my start date is 5th of January 2025 and I add 1 month to it, it will show the output will show as not 5th of February but 28th of February. That is the last day of the next month, right? So it returns the last day of the month. Okay, we'll look at an application of this as well. Okay, next is DATEADD. So DATEADD adds time intervals to a date. Very, very important. For example, you are trying to find out when does a subscription expire for a person, right? So all you have to do is come up with the date, give the number, what is the number we are looking at, and the interval, whether it's months or days or years. So let's say I come up with 5th of January 2025, number is 30 and the interval is month, right? So it will calculate a 30-day interval, or it will calculate 30 days hence. So we'll be looking at maybe 4th of February 2025 or 5th of February 2025, right? DATEDIFF, again, very important. It helps us calculate difference between dates. For example, we have been given the date of birth like we have in our customer lookup table, and we want to calculate the age of the customer. So all we have to do is put in the start date, put in the end date, And what interval are we looking at? Are we looking at days? Are we looking at months? Are we looking at years? Are we looking at quarters? So on and so forth, right? So these look very simple, but they're very, very powerful, and they find their use in our day-to-day lives when we're using Power BI. Right, so let's move to the Power BI interface and put them into use. Okay, so let's look at weekday first. So we'll go to our calendar lookup table, and we have a day number here. Look at this. So we'll calculate one more day number. Now, the first day number was calculated using the date time function, which was inbuilt. Now, we'll be using DAX here, so let's call this day num DAX, and I can say weekday. I want the date column, and look at this. The return type, which is optional, talks about 3 return types. One means Sunday is 1, Saturday is 7. The next is Monday is 1, Sunday is 7. And if you go to the next, Monday is 0 through Sunday 6. If I remember it right, we went with option number 2. So we'll do a quick check. So if I go to option number 2, that is Monday 1 through Sunday 7, and I click on enter, look at this. It's matching. So if I go to any other day here, let's say Sunday, look at this. Remember, we put Sunday as, in our switch function, we had put Sunday as other. That's why it's showing as other. Otherwise, it would have shown as 7. Right? So this is another way of coming up with day numbers. Okay. Now, let's say, let's create a hypothetical scenario. Let's say this is the order date. Okay. And the AdventureWorks team, finance team, gives a, it's kind of an offer for the customers that whoever orders from us, whenever they, let's say this is a subscription-based model, and whenever they have to next reorder, AdventureWorks gives them an extension to the end of the month, right? So if they have to send out reminders, they would send out reminders at the end of the next month. Let's say these are all 30-day subscriptions. Now, how do they come up with a date which would help them keep track of all the reminders, right? So in this case, we can use EOMONTH. Now, how do we use EOMONTH? So let's say we come up with a new column and we say subscription reminders, and we say EOMONTH. EOMONTH needs a start date, so we'll come up with the date and how many months to add. Now we can add previous months, we can add next month. Now in this case, we want the next month, right? We want a 30-day, this is a 30-day subscription model. Now if I keep 1 here, that is the number of months to be added, I close the function. Look at this. So this is in a date time format. So all we have to do is go here in the data type, change it to date, and it will be a long format. I don't want it in the long format. I'll go in the format here and I'll convert it into a short date, right? So now my format matches. Now look at this. This subscription started at 26/6/2022, and the subscription would add or end in 31/7/2022, right? So they get a grace period of 5 days. Similarly, this was in 29/5/2022, and it adds in 36/2022. So they get one day. So the idea behind EOMONTH is EOMONTH would always return the last date of whatever month we are talking about. If my interval is 1 month, the next month's last date. If the interval was 2 months, so 2 months, it would have been, this would have been then August, and it would have been 31st of August, right? So on and so forth. Okay, so this is EO month. Now this does not make a lot of sense, right? Who gives grace periods till the end of the month? So the business logic has to be, again, logical. In order to come up with such a logic where we are talking about 30 days subscription period or a 12-month subscription period, in that case we would want to use the DATEADD. So how do we do it? So let's say I call it subscription N, and I call it DATEADD. DATEADD, I'll have to first add the date, which date we are talking about. So we are talking about this date. Number of intervals, right? So if I say 30, in that case, I have to select days, right? If I select year, it will be 30 years. So we have to be very careful with that, right? So day, and I close this. This will also be returned as a date time, and convert it to date and a short format. Right. Look at this. So now, why are we not getting any date for this? That needs to be investigated. But look at this. We have 29/5/2022 here. 29/5/2022 changes to 28/6/2022 as against 36/2022, right? So this is for a 30-day subscription. So this makes much more sense now, right? So this is adding 30 days to the subscription. Let's say if I go here and instead of 30 days, I say 1 year, and I change this to, sorry, year. Let's see now what happens. Let's take out the blanks. Look at this. So 27/6/2021 would end in 27/6/2022, right? Similarly, a 5/7/2020 would end in 5/7/2021. So this would make much more sense to the business, right? So we are looking at maybe 30-day subscriptions or 1-year subscription end period. Okay, so this is how we use EOMONTH and DATEADD. Now let's come to date difference, DATEDIFF. So let's say we go to the customer lookup table and we have the birth date. Now we would want to find out the age of the customer, where we would want to look at what age group ends up ordering what kind of products, right? We want to do a bivariate analysis of such a kind. Now we don't have the age given to us, so we can always calculate it. So we can go to new column and I can say age, and I can put DATEDIFF. In DATEDIFF I'll put the birth date column. And now how do I calculate age? So age is always calculated with the current time. And how do we get the current time? Either we use today or we use now. So let's use today. And then what do I want? What is the interval? I would want the interval to be years, right? Age we mostly calculate in years. So enter. Look at this. So the first customer is 65 years of age, the second is 70, so on and so forth. So this is what we get, right? And next we can come up with a visualization where we put age, or we can make some buckets of the age using the switch function. And we can look at what kind of products they are ordering, right? So this is how we can use these different date functions although they look very, very simple, but they're very, very powerful and helps us in extracting some really great information when it comes to time related or temporal data. Right, so that's what we had in today's session. We talked about date functions. In the next session, we'll talk about a few more important functions. If you have liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.